Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
I'm back, beautiful people. I'm back. I am back. And I'm going to tell you where I came from. I was in Harlem, New York, for the Full Circle Business Experience, the 5th annual. And I am still grateful, excited, and we're building on a momentum of that specific event. We were talking about how do you access capital for your dreams, but we titled it Capital Stacking. And we were talking about how you're preparing for that big dream, and you are partnering with financial institutions that will help to support you, but you got to be ready. That was what we talked about. The other thing we talked about is government contracting, and we had some very senior leaders that were guiding us through that process to help us. If you're interested in doing business with the government, the opportunities will still be there. But guess what? You got to be prepared to enter into those spaces. And then we leveled off with networking, and not just networking, but with intention. As we are business owners and entrepreneurs and dreamers, it becomes our responsibility to be in the right rooms and have the right relationships. So, the Full Circle Business Experience Lab, this is going to be a working event on May 2nd, 2026. So, join the movement. May 2nd, 2026. And it's going to be back in Harlem, so you don't have any excuses. So, welcome to another episode of The Real Journey of Entrepreneurship. My name is Anita Pierce, and I'm your host and producer. I'm also the founder and CEO of 11375. We are a strategic growth organization that helps to connect resources to all who want to grow and are big dreamers. The real journey of entrepreneurship. In this space, we talk to those who tell the truth about it, what it really means to be in this space. As I always say, that when you are in this space of creating, envisioning, and dreaming, it becomes one of those things where you are learning more about who you are in this process, and also how you can connect the work that you are dreaming and visualizing with social impact. So there you have it. And today is no different. I'm with another dreamer, and I can tell you that when you have the opportunity to be connected to the right relationships and you are growing and building your business, it's something awesome. And my next guest is no different. Ivon Silver is another leader, another dreamer that's building and creating impact. So guess what? Here we go. Hey, Ivon.
Hi, Anita. Thank
How
you for
are you?
having me.
Thank
I'm
you for
doing
sharing.
great. I'm
Okay.
doing great. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we know your name, right? Do tell. Tell us about what you do, how you make impact in your spaces. Do tell, do tell.
Yes. So where do we start, right? That's the real question. Where do we start? And I'll start from right here, right now. So you mentioned you talked about dreamers, you talked about networks, um, and the person that connected us for this interview was somebody that I met at a leadership conference, right? And it's so important. It's great to have a network and to know people, but it's so important to first have identity and know who you are,
Mm,
because oftentimes we have huge networks. We go to 20 events, we add 15 people on LinkedIn, and we do nothing with these things. And I think that derives from how we feel about ourselves. So I'm Ivon Silver, a work in progress. So
mm,
proud of myself within the progress because I haven't given up. But more than anything, the one thing that I do want to share, or for everybody to take away from this, is that we are all scared, we're all nervous, we're all unsure about things, but the idea is that you continue to try baby steps along the way, because those mistakes that you make along the way will help you go faster, right? And as long as you're pushing forward and moving the needle a little bit every day, that's that's going to make all the difference. And that's what's made the difference for me. So before being who I am today, right? Today, I'm an international speaker. I'm a facilitator. I'm a business owner. I'm a mother. I have so many hats, right? I'm a board member too. But before all of that, I was somebody that didn't have identity, right? I didn't know who I was. And my shirt says, "Don't quit your daydream." It says, "Don't quit your daydream."
mm.
Right? Because as a kid, I had a dream of being a teacher. That was my life goal. Like anytime you ask me, what do you want to be when you're bigger? For me, it was to be a teacher. And at a young age, that dream was crushed, by adults in my life. And so I immediately shut that dream off, and I started to pursue different avenues. And all of those other avenues that I pursued led me to today, led me to being in this interview here with you today. I was somebody that didn't speak as a kid. I didn't have the autonomy to speak because of the dynamic, let's just say, of our childhood and my household. And so now I fast forward, I'm speaking in international stages. I'm getting paid to speak. I'm doing the very thing. I'm teaching others through my workshops, through my business. So I'm doing the very thing that for a long time I wasn't doing and I never saw myself doing. But because I continued to try things that maybe didn't make sense or didn't align at the time, those very things will lead you precisely to exactly where you need to be.
Okay, 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 okay,
I
okay.
gave you a lot.
No, it's where do I go, right?
Right.
Where do I start? So I always like to get into your why. Tell us
Mm.
about the name of your business and why are you doing what you do for real.
Yes. So the name of my business is the GI Lab. And lab is for, where you're constantly testing things to make them better. That's how I envision it, right? And we are, like I said in the beginning, I'm a work in progress. So we're constantly trying to do better and be better, right? Ultimately with grace. But that's where the lab comes from. And then the GI stands for generational intelligence. So the generational intelligence lab. And what that looks like is we provide events, workshops, one-on-one coaching to different people, from parents to leaders, entrepreneurs, and people in between. The workshops span from workforce development, financial literacy, personal development, and now we're trying to branch and work with athletes. That's a new venture that we're looking to do next year. And so that's precisely, yes, exactly. So this is our website. Right now, we have an event coming up on May 28th, at the end of May. And it's a spin-off from the event that we did 2 years ago. It's called Unlock Your Power. And so this year, this will be the third annual. And this year, we're focusing on the Bronx specifically. So I was born in the Bronx. I'm a South Bronx girly. And God has just brought me back to the Bronx. I was doing a lot of work in other areas in New York, and he brought me back to where it all started. And we are now organizing this event with local city agencies, and it's called The Bronx is Healing.
Mm.
So in the Bronx is Healing will be a panel discussion, and we're gonna have a holistic wellness doctor. She's gonna talk about health and healing from a holistic perspective versus like taking pills or traditional medication. We're gonna have an LMSW. We're gonna have somebody who's a Bronxite. She's the founder of Bronx Fashion Week. And so it's going to be a very diverse panel, but we're all going to talk about the same thing, healing and healing as a community and what that looks like. Because we know it's not an easy path, right? Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're not an entrepreneur, we all still have to heal, forgive and go through certain things that will just make us better. And so what I've learned is that healing is not just something, um, let's say a lot of people just think it's for women or for people that had that maybe have gone through PTSD or veterans, but really this is for everybody, even as an entrepreneur, because what I've seen in my line of work is that our traumas, our fears, all of that shows up in the way we run our business. So if you're not used to talking to people, then delivering an elevator pitch is going to freak you out, right? That's going to limit you. If you don't know how to price your products correctly, is that maybe because you have a mentality of scarcity? Or you're afraid to put the proper price because you're afraid to get rejected, and understanding where that fear of rejection comes from, where that mentality, that scarcity mentality comes from. And usually all of that derives from our childhood and the way we were raised and the way our parents, whatever our parents normalized for us. And so it's deep work. It's deep work, but I went through it personally, and I've been able to come out of a dark space and take myself out of a dark space through everything that I've learned. And so now I'm teaching it to others. And it applies to everyone, whether you're an entrepreneur or not.
Okay, I love all of that. So I am curious about I want to go back to a couple of things that you mentioned about
Mhm.
your childhood,
Mm.
how that shapes how you do business today. Would you be able to describe what and how you became aware that these are the things pointing out, if any specifics that you want to elevate
Mhm.
contribute now to how I do business now?
Yeah, absolutely. One that comes up for me immediately is the fear of being seen. So
Mm,
as a kid, the the childhood that I had, well, one of the circumstances that I had to deal with was playing small. Playing small because of all the chaos that was going on around me. So I didn't want to be an added chaos to the chaos. So I always played small. I always shrunk. I always try and hide myself. I would always, like, my needs, I would never bring them up. I would never advocate for myself. So these were things that were normalized for me as a kid. And now I run a business and I'm like, oh no, wait, I have to get on social media. Oh no, wait, I have to get in front of people. I have to learn my 60-second elevator pitch. I have to be seen. That's the only way you scale and you build a business, if you're out there. And so it took me years to face that reality and really take it serious, because I was doing it, but very, with a mediocre effort. I wasn't doing it with excellence. And it showed. It showed in the finances and showed in the growth. A year later, 2 years later, I had to sit with myself. Like you asked me, when did I pinpoint it? And it was when I realized, I'm like, this is not growing. This business is not growing. I'm not doing anything with it. Everything is there. It's legalized. I have the LLC, EIN, but what am I doing with it? And this was the first business that I ever did. But that, because I went through all of that in that business, it allowed me to not do the same thing with the GI lab, which I'm doing now, right? So going back to what I first said, even if you're unsure, even if you don't have the money, whatever, you still got to try. You still got to at least like try, because even if you fail, or even if something happens that you weren't expecting and it's negative, that's the very thing that you need to learn from so that you can elevate, right? Like that really dark space that I went through took me back to my childhood, but that was exactly what I needed to unlock the best and most powerful version of myself. Because that little girl, the person that was leading for a long time in my life was that little girl that was used to hiding, that was used to just shrinking. She was the one that was leading for a long time. So I had to put her to the side, and I had to step in. Powerful me, highest version of myself. I'm the one that has to lead now. And so it took years for me to understand that, accept it, and then build power out of it.
You know, I can so appreciate what you're saying about um the idea of finding or connecting or disconnecting, right? In this,
Mm,
right?
right.
The experiences that we had that shape us. That
Mm,
requires, to your point, deep, right? Sitting with yourself. I can share that I feel like I'm in another chapter of refining who I'm supposed to be,
come
right?
on.
At 50, I just turned 50, so
Come
it's
on.
a, it's a whole new era of like, oh, I don't really have to care about that stuff anymore. Really? Like, oh,
That
I,
was never real.
that was never real.
Right.
Like
I love
it's
that.
and even like that that girl, right?
Mm,
That like she's still there, but not really, right?
come on.
And
Yes.
not really meaning that I can go, girl, if you know what you're going to become now,
Right.
like, and then the thing about it, and I love how you opened up and stated that you're still progressing, that you
Oh
haven't
yeah.
arrived at
Mm-mm.
at anything. You have done some things, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm finished. We have
Right.
no idea who we have a little bit of clue, like especially if we're working on our purpose and purpose, that we
Mm-hmm.
have some things that we know for sure, kind of
Yeah.
sort of. But then as you start to take risk in entrepreneurship and being
Mhm.
in business, that's a whole nother level of I
Yes.
gotta do that.
Of crazy. It's a whole other level of, yeah. It's not, it's real. It's not like I said, it took me years. And I definitely took holistic life therapy for like a year and a half.
What's
Once
that?
I
Okay, what's holistic there? What's that? I don't know. What is that?
Yeah, yeah. So traditional therapy, you sit in front of a therapist and you kind of just talk but holistic therapy, the therapist looks at your life from different angles. So not just what you're saying, but they also study your sleep. They study your diet. They study your stress, like the different things that bring you stress on a daily basis, the type of job that you have, right? The responsibility of being a mother, which is its own world. So they look at you from every and financially. What are you dealing with? Like every stressor, everything, and that with the information that you share, right, about your childhood or whatever it is you want to share, um, they combine that, and through weekly sessions, you work through it, and that's where I was able to understand and build that self-awareness about the areas in my life that I was ignoring, but
Mm,
those were the areas that were leading, that all that fear, all that childhood trauma, that's what was at the forefront. It wasn't the highest version of Yvonne, it was little 6-year-old Yvonne that was leading. And had I not taken that therapy, I don't think I would have been able to tap into that and heal. Obviously it's not done. We're still healing. With Like I said, I'm a work in progress. We all are. But that really, really helped me build that self-awareness.
okay. So we're gonna. It's a constantly improving to make us get closer to our purpose and what we are supposed to be doing here while we're on Earth. Um,
Yes.
I have a question I'm curious about. Um, as a founder of your businesses, What thus far has it taught you?
Hmm. Oh, it, right?
you you said, it ain't the social media stuff, that's for sure.
Right, exactly, exactly. It really brought to surface a lot of the things that I was just, dangling with, a lot of things that were in the gray. And that, owning a business, it forces you to get real about your finances, right? Because then I learned, I'm like, I can't run my business finance if I can't run my personal finance, right? And I got into real estate at like 24. Like I learned about credit on my own, like doing research, and I figured all this stuff out. But it doesn't hit you until you're actually running a business, right? Because it's a day in and day out. So once I realized that, okay, I got to get serious about, even more serious about my finances. Oh, I should understand a little bit more about accounting. Like I never, I didn't even go to school for that. So but now I'm like, okay, even if you have an accountant, you have to know a little bit about tax law, right? You need to know a little bit about everything, because at the end of the day, it's your business. You can hire all the professionals you want. um but it was understanding that reality, that it's not just, oh, I'm gonna make a lot of money and this is my passion. No, there's a lot of nitty gritty, and that allowed me to get more serious about my personal life. I'm like, if I can't get serious about myself and everything that I have going on, I can't take the business serious, because the business just forces you to unlock a better and higher level and version of yourself, right? Like getting in front of people, getting comfortable talking about what your business does, the solutions that you provide. So talking to people, that was a hard one. Believing in myself, that was a hard one. Um, Feeling or not thinking the worst case scenario. That was another one for me, like applying to grants and reaching out to people and trying to build a network. I would immediately always default to like, the worst case scenario. But again, that was because of what I endured as a kid. And I learned, I'm like, I don't have to live like that. It allowed me to reframe and reprogram my thinking. And that changed my outer experience like tenfold.
So I want to lean in on a couple of things that I heard you mention, which is, mindset. That I heard
Mhm.
you had a mindset shift, but those who know, who get behind the box with me, the virtual box, I love talking about the importance of connecting and knowing your money, knowing what
Mm.
comes in and out of your business, because for we have been conditioned. I'm saying we, maybe it sounds like you as well, that you did a lot of self-learning, but a lot
Mhm.
of mine came from experience and making tons and tons and tons of mistakes,
Mistakes, yep.
right? And so, how did I want to lean in on two things, mindset and also finances, because when we talk about
Mm.
money, finances, it ain't sexy at all. Like
No.
it's that is another process in itself. So, would you be able to share, how, if you made mistakes related to your business specifically, and how were you able to really navigate the next level?
Yeah. So, I mean, you said a few things, right? Like the mindset and the finances. And the way I like to see it is that they go hand in hand. So I say our energy and our finances and our time, that's like the top three things that we have to manage, right? Because the way we manage our energy is the way we manage our money. If you are, you know open and flowing, and you give everybody everything, and you have no boundaries, that's kind of how people usually are with their money too. Like there's no boundaries, it kind of just comes in and out, and you just expect your paycheck in 2 weeks, and you just do it again. And usually that's how people live their lives. So I read a book that taught me that. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So maybe I need to be more strategic about how I am giving my energy, because what I noticed is it's true. I would, like, if I had a surplus of money, I would look for reasons to spend it. Or, oh, let me hit up this family member, see if they have another emergency that I can help them with, just like, and I'm like, okay, I got to pull back. And once I understood that, tenfold. I'm talking about, I became more intentional about the way I'm giving out my energy, and I just became more intentional about my money, like to the penny. You know what I'm saying? Like exactly what you said. Like we have to get so detailed, so granular about our money because literally, I mean, we get audited, right? This is what's going to determine our scale. This is what's going to determine if you get approved for credit cards or loans or grants and stuff like that. They want to know your finances. And if you as a business owner, if you don't know the ins and outs of your money, you're not going to be able to scale. So I had to learn that. And that took a lot of rewiring and it took a lot of time and every day practicing, like, okay, let me retain. Okay, let me build a boundary around here. And that changed everything for me. Till this day, I don't let that go. I don't let that go at all.
I still have some money learnings. And
Don't we all?
I wanna share like how I appreciate how you talked about how you are understanding where your money is coming in and coming out, because
Mm-hmm.
it is so true, right? Contrary to what's being promoted on social media. There, I said it, right? A lot
Come
of it
on.
is connected to your character, right?
Yes.
How you
Yes.
manage money and resources and what goes out of your business. And another thing that I love that you stated is that although you may have a tax professional,
Mm.
do not go in blindly, right?
Right.
You may
Real.
not be up to date on all of the updated laws and things like that, but that is why the irs.gov is there. It is a
Right.
service, but
Mm.
we have individuals who specialize in those laws to help us as business owners as a complementary support system to help.
Yeah.
You need an accountant, right? Most people are like, I don't need it, but you need specifically who knows your business, right?
Yeah.
So I happen to be in a space where government contracting is what's a part of my business model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone needs to know that I don't get paid every 2 weeks, right?
Mm.
I don't, but
Right.
I have to lean in on other resources to help me with the contract, right?
Right.
So that is something that when you talked about, you know, you need to have baseline knowledge of the
Mm-hmm.
that you're getting into. And then as you experience, from my experience, and I'm talking from where I
Yeah.
am now, right? Then as you make mistakes, lots of them,
Yes.
right? You make
Yes.
lots of mistakes. I don't care what no one says, right?
Right. Right. Same.
This was not my aspiration.
Right.
And because I had a baby, I went
Mm.
back to work. And my first day back, I was told my position was eliminated.
Wow.
I was not dreaming of 11375. I was not dreaming of government contracting. I was just trying to figure out motherhood. Still am, by the way.
Wow. Yes. Me
Still am.
too.
Still am.
Yes.
That's like you said, is a whole nother thing. So I
Yeah.
appreciate when you talked about, you know, those and it's it's constant, having constant conversations. I have things around me that consistently motivate me on my wall,
Mm-hmm.
behind me, on my phone, because once you are in your on your healing journey, my
Yes.
experience, you gotta maintain it. Just like if you don't want to be overweight, and we all know the summer is coming, right? What we
Mm-hmm.
all trying let me not
Right.
say all. What I'm trying to do is, because I'm going someplace special this summer,
Come
right?
on.
I want to look a certain way. So guess what I got to do,
Absolutely.
right? I know, right? Even though
And
I
you
don't want
have every right. Yeah, absolutely. Some people might think like, but whatever. We're not going there about what people think negative. It's it's how you view it, right? Like this is a goal that it's personal to Anita and only Anita understands that. And only Anita needs to understand that nobody else needs to. That's just, and it's the same thing with a vision, right? Or like you said, with our dreams, right? Like don't quit your daydream. No one else was given the vision that was given to you, Anita. You know what I mean?
yep.
It was given to you, Anita Pierce, and only Anita Pierce is going to understand what that vision looks like. And that's the one thing that I had to learn. Like I learned the hard way that your family will be the first ones that don't understand and maybe not support you. And it took me years to forgive and let that go because I was taking it personal. And when you understand that the vision is being given to you specifically, it means that no one else is going to understand it because it wasn't given to them. And that's okay. And, that's another one of those things that I had to learn how to manage, taking things personal, being okay with rejection, sending out pitches and decks to people and organizations and them saying no. And just getting comfortable with that and dusting your feet off and then going on to the next one. It's not something for us to take personal, right? And like you said, this journey of entrepreneurship, we're going to deal with rejection. We're going to deal with losses. We're going to deal with people leaving our lives, with having to fire people, or maybe
Mm,
people quitting on us. You know what I mean? We're going to have to deal with our families not supporting, and also dealing with motherhood, amidst all of that. And when you said the story about you becoming a mother and what happened to you on the first day on the job, like I got chills because when I had my son, I that's when I went, not like right after him. It was like 2 years after I had him.
mm,
I went down a really bad spaces. It was like during COVID, so there was a lot of changes going on, and I went in a like dark space. And when you said your story, I could identify with it because something similar happened to me when
mm,
I had my son. But because I had him, and because I was going to therapy, and because of my faith, those three things were the only reasons why I'm able to have this conversation with you today. Because
mm,
I don't know what decision I would have made had it not been for my son, my faith, and my holistic life therapy, you know? And that's what I want to normalize for people through my workshops, through my events. Like, let's talk. And even in this podcast, this is what precisely the only thing you want to talk about, the real truth of entrepreneurship and everything that it involves. It's not pretty. It's not easy. It's literally a battle, but it's so worth it because you're pursuing your passion, you're pursuing your dreams. And if you're not living in that way, then you're living and you're feeling empty, right? And then we chase the wrong things. So I would much rather be stressed about something that I'm passionate about versus being stressed about living a lifestyle that God didn't call me to live, you
mm.
know?
I can say amen to that. And I do have a follow-up question for you because as we talked about, there is a duplicity that
Mm.
exists, multifaceted, all the above. I don't want to say double-mindedness because sometimes when you're in this space, sometimes I feel that way. Um, how do you know when it's time to grow your business or expand? Right? Because I'll lead by example. So
Yes, please.
I'm in this phase right now where I'm like, man, I perceive myself as doing really well. I perceive myself
Yes.
as being really successful. Like this was not the plan. So I thought.
Yeah.
But right now I'm in a space where there's things that I've written down because I like to write in my journal,
Mm-hmm.
and that I don't have the full capacity right now to execute on those things. I have to do like a slow
Mm.
drip, right? It's a slow drip. But
Yes.
now I'm like, oh my God, I see something new. How do you know when it's time to expand for you? Right?
Mm.
For me,
Wow.
I'm like, oof, I can't wait. I'm like, oh, I can't wait. It's like I can't wait. And I gotta be like,
Oh my
it gotta be
God.
like calming. I have to because even like so I have a daughter, she's 11, right?
Yeah.
375 is in its 11th year, right? And
Wow.
I can tell you that
Wow.
even like I have things that I've written down that I want to execute and start additional businesses for her. But for
Oh.
you and your experience, how do you, right, know when it's time to make adjustments, right? Because
Mm.
whatever experience or move forward to expand.
Wow. I feel like that's a therapeutic question. I have to go home after this and talk to someone about it. No, but it's interesting that you say that because literally a week ago I asked myself this question. I asked myself, I'm like, how come you jump from one thing to the other? How
Mm,
come you don't finish one before you're starting the next one?
mm,
And I started to see that pattern in a different area of my life. And I'm like, wow, that's true. How come I don't just finish this project before thinking about doing another one? But that's how entrepreneur we have 100 ideas. and on top of that we have 50 more. You know what I mean? Like that's how we're built. Our minds are different. We reverse engineer plans, you know, and nobody teaches us these things. We're just wired and built that way because of the calling and the purpose, the mission that we've been entrusted with. But for me personally, to know when to stop, that's literally something I'm working on in real time.
Mm,
I literally, like I said, I asked myself that question last week. So you asking me this question is like, okay, that's confirmation.
mm,
Um, and also last year, I went through burnout the last quarter of 2025, and that taught me so much. You know, that just taught me like just because you can do something doesn't mean that you have to do it, you know. Um I was putting my hands in a lot of things, and eventually that just, you know, caused for burnout. And so that question is beautiful because that's literally something I'm working on right now. And I'm just coming out of the whole burnout maybe like a month ago.
mm,
So, you know, again, even with that feeling of I still scheduled this, you know, I think I scheduled this a month and a half ago, and I was still coming out of the burnout slowly, but I still, you know, I still scheduled this call. I didn't say, you know what, I'm not even gonna. So that's my whole thing. Like even if you don't feel 100, even if you feel like you're doing too much, maybe one thing that could help is, like you said, writing it down. Write down the idea and what it would look like. And maybe once you see it on paper or, you know, visually, I'm a visual learner, it allows you to be like, you know what? Maybe this is going to take more time than I expected. Maybe I shouldn't work on this. So one advice that I could give is maybe write it down. For anybody that's watching this, like if you do have 100 ideas, write all 100 of them down. And if you have time, start breaking them down and see which one is going to, you know, it's the fastest to generate money, or the fastest that aligns with, you know, your passion and your gifts or your calling. It's different for everybody. So that's why, you know, like you say, the journey of entrepreneurship is very unique to everybody.
So I have a question. How do you want people who interact with you describe the experience, their personal experience with working with you? What are some of the, or learn from you? What are some of the things that you want people to say and learn from you?
Yeah, I would want them to say that they were able to tap into the best version of themselves.
Mm,
That's really what it's about. I love when I hear feedback, and you know, they say like everything you spoke about was so raw and so real, you know, like the truth. The reality is that nobody identifies with somebody who comes off as perfect. And that's who I used to be. I wanted
mm,
every perfection. If it wasn't perfect, and that is not healthy, you know, I learned the hard way. And so now I just realize that nobody identifies with somebody that's perfect. I can't relate to somebody that's perfect because my life is not perfect. And so when I work with people, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's a seminar, I have to tell you the truth. I have to tell you that it's not, like I said, that it's not pretty, right? I have to tell you that this is going to make you question who you are, but actually it's going to bring you closer to who you are. Like this helped me develop and tap into my identity. Again, something that I was completely disconnected from because of my childhood trauma. And so when people leave our conferences or seminars or coaching sessions, or even like we do group sessions too for like companies, right, like for their staff dynamic and team building and stuff like that, it's all about creating a space where people can feel that they can be their authentic self, because that's the only way you develop true that's the only way you can develop truthfully. Because if you're living a lie, if you're putting a mask on, if you're living a facade, then everything that you attract is going to be on that basis. And so every like the number one thing for me, the biggest takeaway that I would want anybody that works with me is that they felt that there was a space for truth and honesty. You know, there was a space for that they were allowed to be themselves and come as they are. Like that's the only way we can really change. And I say that because of my personal experience too. Like my life wasn't what it was supposed to be because I was wearing a mask. And
mm.
once I took that mask off, the truth, right? Like I have a personal quote. Like, and it goes, we after the truth, we will always be what we were supposed to be. Something like that. Like after the truth, you will always be what you always were. Right. And pretty much what that means is that you can either choose the truth or a lie, right? But the truth is what sets you free. So you're going to be whatever you've always been deep down. You know how some people say, "Oh, if I just need to move to a different country and everything is going to be better." Like, no, you're going to be the same person you are in a different country. You could go to Mars. It doesn't matter. It's about you and your identity and how you view yourself. That's what makes the change. You know, it's not the environment. Like, I'm from the South Bronx. Like, I'm from the South Bronx. Like, that's it. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean, you know, that doesn't determine anything. It's really about, again, your identity, who you are, knowing who you are. And once you know who you are, you're unshakable, you know? I know I took that question far, but I think
No,
I answered it.
no, you did answer it, but I want to wrap up with an additional question. How do you navigate? Because you did mention that you were a mom. Entrepreneurship, business ownership looks different when you are a parent to a
Mm-hmm.
young child to a child. Um,
Mm.
and I can tell you that from my personal experience. It's not for the weak, neither one
Right.
for the weak. But I can
Right.
tell you that I have learned to integrate my daughter
Mm.
into the business. So now when you come to major events, you'll see her as
Oh,
in her CEO role, right? As opening engagements and speaking all the time.
oh, I
I don't,
love
I
that.
don't
Go,
know
mom.
I don't know when that started, but she said, "Oh, I want to speak." I said, "Okay," and
Perfect.
we've been doing this for 5 years, where she
Oh,
is
I love that.
doing her thing, and so integrating, I can say, but I'm integrating your children as best as you can and as they want to, because
Mm.
curious about it, right?
Yes.
Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing, but she'd be like, "Well, who you talk to today?" So people joke, right? Whenever
Yes.
I go to meetings and I'd be like, "Can I take a picture? Because I have to report into my CEO." It's her. It's her.
Oh, I
I
love
share,
that.
and we are doing, because she asks, and when she be asking, "Wait, what did you do all day?" And I used to be like, "Oh."
Okay,
So
fine.
I'm curious about how, I share just a little bit about what I do, but how do you personally navigate, that space of being a mom, being a woman,
Wow. Yes.
all the common ants. How do you navigate that?
Yeah. So, how do I navigate it? Now I can say this, but it wasn't always like this.
Mm,
I just I just stop. I just stop. Whatever it is that I want, like, so let's say he's having a tantrum or he's crying, he doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. I have to choose in that moment. Am I gonna go against him, or am I just gonna stop what I want to do and just give him what he wants? And again, that took me years. It wasn't an over, like, look, I'm breathing hard because I'm just thinking about it. But it took me years to understand that, you know? And I remember putting on together in 2024 Unlock Your Power. When I put that event together, he was 2, and it was so hard. Like, there were times that I would cry. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Should I even put this event together? I need to feed, you know what? I'm like, what am I supposed to do? It was so tough. It was so tough. But now, years later, I just learned that I have to pause. I have to regulate myself. He does not know how to regulate his emotions. I can't tell him to stop and breathe, even though now I do. And he'll like stop himself, and he'll take in a deep breath, and he's learned. But the only reason he's learned is because I had to teach myself, and he sees me doing it, and now I'm able to teach him. But when those moments come up, I just pause. I stop. I take a deep breath, and I just stay in the moment. That's literally what I do. I don't fight it anymore. I don't fight the moment. I become present. I'm like, all right, let me stop organizing my office and let me play with GI Joe and Spider-Man right now. So it was really like learning to make that decision and pausing. It's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. I'm not saying this is, but that's what's worked for me. Does it work every time? No. But maybe 4 out of 10 times I'll get lucky. You know what I'm saying? So that's helped me, really just stopping and being in the present moment, because that's how kids live their life. They live in the present moment. So they force you to be in the present with them. So you either fight that, or you just come to terms with them, right? And be in the present. That's all they know how to do. So I learned that. I learned that the tough way, the mommy way.
You learned that the best way.
The best way,
The
yes.
best
Oh,
way. That was the
yes.
best way, because now you can share some best
Mhm.
practices on what your experience, and offer optional solutions that people can
Mm.
choose from to say, oh, that didn't work for me. So maybe I'll try,
Right.
this solution because it resonates with, so there's someone out there that's going to resonate with it. So I'm excited
Yeah.
you shared it.
Yes.
So
Oh, thank you.
yep, the best way. So as we wrap up, two things that you can share really quickly
Mm.
as like best practices for, if you want to start with managing resources. Just offer two tips that you can share for those who are looking to launch into this space. What can you offer them? What's the truth about it?
About entrepreneurship. Yeah, so real quick, the first one that comes to mind is, I know we always hear um your network. No, we always hear about, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, right? And what I've learned is that it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. You can know 1,000 people, you have 1,000 contacts on your phone, but that doesn't mean that you know who they are. You want to reach out to them, but they don't know who you are. So it's important to put yourself out there. I know it's scary for some people. I was one of them. I hear you, I feel you, I'm with you, I get it. But if no one knows the work that you're doing, then you can't scale, you can't grow. So we have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? And I consider myself a light. I consider myself a light. And God's word says that you need to put the light over the table. That's the only way it's going to shine. And so I've had to learn, I have had to normalize putting myself on top of the table as a light, because that's just who I am, right?
Hmm.
I can't fight it. So that's one. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. So make sure you're putting yourself out there, even if it's cringe. If you want to be a business owner, you have to get comfortable with that.
Right.
And then the second piece is start right now. The present moment is the best moment. And there are so many resources. You are not the first or the last person who's in the predicament that you're in. And I mean, financially, maybe you don't have the money, you don't have a network, maybe you don't have LinkedIn, maybe you don't know how to manage social media. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. You're not the first and you're not the last. There are so many resources. And I'm sure you could look at Anita's podcast and look at every interview before this one, and there are so many free resources too. So, depending on where you live, regardless of what state you live in, there's a chamber of commerce. There are business improvement districts or downtown associations. There are government agencies that specifically help small businesses. Small businesses are so crucial to the economic development of the country. And so the government funds a lot of startups. They fund a lot of organizations that help small businesses and entrepreneurs like ourselves. So the resources are out there. You just have to look for them, and it's not hard to find. So start now, without the money, without the experience, without the knowledge. Just start now. Start doing the research. Start looking for the information. Reach out to me. Reach out to Anita. It doesn't matter what state you're in. It doesn't matter if you have 5 kids, if if you graduated college, if you didn't. This is the perfect moment, right now, because you don't want to look back a year from now, 6 months from now, and say, oh man, I should have done it. Just do it. Who cares? Who cares what comes out? Just do it. You're going to learn. And every mistake that you make is going to make you better. The sooner you fall, the sooner you get back up. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Anita and I can testify. You're going to be fine.
You're gonna be fine.
You
And
know?
I'm 50, so yeah, I don't
Come on.
Just,
Come on.
just do
Love
it.
it.
'Cause
Yes.
when I
You
turned
have.
50, I told my friends, I said, I'm closer to not being here than where I was 50
Mm,
years ago. So I was like, I don't really care. Like, I
come
care about
on.
the things that I do, but I'm very,
Yeah.
very, very, very intentional with my
Yes.
time, my talent, and my
Come on.
resources. So,
You have to.
where can we find you?
So my LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn and on Instagram, Ivon Silver. Perfect. Thank you. It's right at the bottom of the screen. Our website is www.thegilab.com. We have an event coming up on May 28th. That's called The Bronx is Healing. I'll share the Eventbrite with Anita, but you can definitely go on our website. It's a free event open to the community. Bring your kids. It's for the family. We're gonna have a dance off at the end with
Oh,
salsa. We're gonna have goodie bags. We're gonna have vendors there, and it's gonna be a great opportunity for the community to come together, ask questions to the panelists, and it's gonna be a great time. We're kicking off Memorial Day weekend on May 28th, so make sure you're there. The Bronx is healing.
the Bronx is healing, and
Come
so
on.
are we as
Yes.
entrepreneurs and business owners. So I am so grateful to have you have joined us today.
Thank you.
Been a joy to talk with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And big ups to Benny
I know.
for the
Shout out to
connection.
Benny. Shout
Shout
out
out
to
to
Benny.
Benny.
Shout out to Benny. Oh, I got one more question, rapid question. I don't know how I
Hmm.
feel this. What's your favorite borough?
Ooh, the Bronx. Come on, Anita. I'm a South Bronx girly.
I just all right. Brooklyn will be back up next session. Next session.
The Brooklyn is healing. That's the next one we got to do. We're going to make it a citywide thing.
See, there
Yes.
you go. You heard it here
Absolutely.
first. Yvonne, thank
Yes.
you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Look,
Thank you, Anita.
take good
Thank you
care.
for having me.
Take good
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye bye. Friends, family, guess what? Your network, who knows you? Put yourself out there. Start right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Time is of the essence for you to get into the spaces that you need to be in and lead as courageous as you can. I'm going to just wrap up by saying network with intention, share your resources, grow your knowledge and your business acumen, how to make money, achieve goals, shift your mindset, opportunity creation. And I'm going to tell you the biggest thing that keeps us going is to follow up. We are all busy. My inbox looks ridiculous and I'm ashamed of it. But I am going to tell you that the more we are actually following up in multiple ways, like the phone still works, people. You can't just only rely on emails. DM was worked. You know, we all get distracted with the social platform. So if you could find somebody and they have a little green light on, you see them when they on, right? They do that now. You see them when they on. So if they're on, chances are they are in that space where you can grab their attention. Being in business about how you can grab the attention of those who you want to work with and those who potentially want to work with you. I'm super excited about what's coming because I got a little book. My book is heavy and I am looking to unleash those things that have been sitting in there. And just like the full circle business experience, it's in its fifth year. It was its fifth year. That started off from a piece of paper, friends. I don't want to say if I can do it, you can do it too, because that's not always the case. Because I put activity behind that little piece of paper. And you have to have the courage to be able to live in and on purpose and unapologetically. Because guess what? You only got one time and one space here. So on that note, I want to thank you so much for taking time to join us for another episode of The Real Journey of Entrepreneurship. And yes, if you want to be interviewed, send us a note. The Real Journey of Entrepreneurship. I am always looking for courageous truth tellers, because this is not about showing up perfect. It's not. We just doing our best and living in and on purpose. So if you want to join us, holla. We're here. Love to connect with you. But don't forget, I'm still in business. Please like, share, and subscribe on 11375. The name is consistent across all platforms at 11375. So I look forward to seeing you again. Take good care. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am your Chief Experience Officer. At 11375, we offer strategic alignment solutions specific to you and your business goals, and also connecting everything with social impact. So if you are looking for a really amazing organization where we help you to focus your strategy and connecting it with social impact, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are on all the social platforms, and you can contact us at 11375. This week I'm thinking about how dope it is to be in business for myself. Self-employment, business ownership, entrepreneurship, all that good stuff. And why I chose to be in that space. Actually, it wasn't my choice. It was something that I was forced into. But as I'm here in this space, I really think it's dope because I am creating things that I imagine, things that I write on a piece of paper, but it also helps to create, after the number of failures, a real boost of confidence that I have the ability to take something off of a piece of paper, take something that I typed in my phone, and then create it. Your mind is your biggest flex.